Hi guys, Belinda here, welcome back. Today I've decided I'm going to show you how I resin, and I have my level here which is actually completely level. So this is an artwork that I did, which I haven't actually done a video on, and just measuring it. It's a 30 centimeter round, and today I'm going to be using art clear resin, and this resin here is by Liquid Glass. I will put all of the details down below in the description, and they have sent me this resin. I actually have been using resin for about 10 years. This is 1:1 ratio, so we have the hardener, and then of course the resin, the clear resin, and it comes in all the instructions on the back. So this is this is the way I've taped my canvas. So if I show you the back, I'm going to have to reset all of this again. So if you have a look at the back, you'll see that I actually previously taped it before I did the artwork, and I tape it with normal electrical tape. So it's electrical tape, and the reason why I use electrical tape is because resin does not stick to electrical tape, so it's much easier to actually get it off. You don't have to go and sand it down. Right, so I'm just going to put this aside because I'm going to have to reset this, which I'll do off camera. Right. So for this size I'm going to need about 180 mils. Now I do want to do down the sides, so you'll see how I do it. I'm going to let it run off the sides. I don't like the way it shows all blank around the sides. If you're going to use resin, you might as well use the resin around the whole thing. So I'm going to pour in here 90 mils. So that will be the resin. I know my hand is in the way, guys. Okay, so we've gone a little bit over. So the beauty about using this little cup, this is a silicone cup, is that you can just pour it back into the, if you've got too much, just pour it in. So this you have to measure out. It's you don't necessarily have to weigh it. You can weigh it if you want to. I just choose not to. In order for it to harden though, ideally you will want to make sure that you've got exactly the correct ratio. But I have been working with this for 10 years or so, so I'm very familiar. So I will put all of the descriptions of, everything in the description of where you can get hold of this resin. I'll put their contact details and their email address and website, possibly their telephone number. Okay, so now we went 90 mils. I'm going 90 mils again. And let's see. So I actually marked it off with a pen. so it's more visible. 90 mils. Okay, perfect. It's always a little more difficult when you've got a full. I find when it's full, once you've poured out it once or twice, then it makes it a little bit easier. Yep, so so that's 1:1 ratio. We're going to put that in here, add it all together. So what I actually do is, to figure out when it's hard or when it's cured, I actually leave the stick inside either the cup that I have used, or I'll leave it inside this little measure. Normally I do actually use a big jug, but my big jug doesn't have a small enough measure for the size. So if you leave the stick standing in there, number one, you can actually get the resin out extremely easy. You just pull the stick and the resin will come out. It should all come out all at once. And also if you want to see if it's cured yet, you just touch it inside the cup instead of touching your painting. So I do find that quite helpful. Now I have to stir this for 2 minutes, so I'll be back. Okay guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is to have it level, completely and utterly level. And then with the tape, I make like a little well, so you can see how, just stand that up because you don't want the resin going on the top of it. Well, we are going to pull it off anyway. Okay, so I have finished with mixing. When you mix, make sure that you're scraping the sides constantly, you're scraping the bottom. You don't want anything that's not mixed, or any amount that's not mixed. Make sure it's all clean, not dusty, and you pour it on. Now you can just pour it on haphazardly, it doesn't really matter because you're going to move it around. Going to move the resin to the sides. So I've used 180 milliliters for a 30 centimeter round. You can Google for a Google calculator. Okay, so I'm just moving this around to the sides gently. If you feel that the resin starts getting hot, you can put your heat gun on it, which will give you more time to work with. I think this one, if I remember correctly, you have about 45 minutes. So that's not a lot of time, but especially, you know, when you're mixing and if you're using it for you know, you're going to use pigments, then you're going to take more time. So sometimes you just need to work a little faster. Okay, so I'm getting it all in there, and this is why it's so important for your canvas to be level. So I'm getting it as close to the edge as I can. Now it's really making this pop already. You don't want all of, you know, the resin to be sitting in the center of your canvas. Okay, making sure that it's all covered. And this resin, like I said, you know, I have actually been using it for a number of years, and I've always been happy with this product. It is really good. And I'm not getting paid to do to say that. I'm just giving you my personal opinion. Right, it's looking beautiful already. Make sure I've got in there. And then what I do, give it a torch, because there will be a lot of bubbles in there. So this is going to be actually a nice thick layer. So just move it and work it. Now I will do some other resin art. If you guys would like to see, let me know. I have done many resin pieces over the years. And I must say, so these guys, they are local. They are situated in Auckland. They're Liquid Polymer Glass. And they send you, when you do purchase, they do send you a couple of free samples of pigment. Okay, that's looking beautiful. I'm just trying to get most, well, not most of it out the center, but there's still quite a bit in the center, so I'm just working it around. Before I pull off the tape. Right. Just work it. And you see it should start getting sticky to a point where you can actually no longer work without it becoming stringy. You can see now it's starting to get a little bit stringy. Now you don't have to take as long as I am taking to do it. I'm just doing it for everybody's purpose or benefit. Okay. So I'm going to give that a torch. So the little bit that you've got left over in the cup there, you keep it in there, because it's going to determine, it's going to tell you if when you touch it, if it's if you're ready to take the tape off at the back. So I'm just torching this quickly, getting rid of bubbles, and the best way to actually see if the bubbles are gone is if you look at it sideways. See, there's some bubbles there, and just be careful, because you can quite easily and very quickly burn oops, you can quite easily burn the silicone. I'm just checking, I can see some bubbles there. So I'm going to leave this for a very short while. Once it starts getting a little bit tacky, then I'll come back and pull off the tape on the sides. Okay, so hang on to your painting because you don't want to lose the painting. So the resin should start running down the sides a little bit. Alright. So once it starts running down the sides, which it is doing now, you can actually see it, then you take your stick and just run your stick around the bottom so that you get the resin drops off. You don't want the resin to stick so hard onto the tape at the bottom that you can't actually get the tape off. Okay, so the resin will run slowly down the sides. If you've got too much resin, it's going to run a lot faster. But hopefully you can see that it's already creating like a dome effect. So once it's a little bit more set, I'll come back and I'll take the bottom tape off before it is completely set. Okay guys, I'll see you in a bit. Okay guys, you see, hopefully you can see that. Put my hand underneath. You can see how it's starting to go stringy. So this would be the time that I would take off the tape underneath. So let's do that. So I'm just going to grab the scissors and cut through here. So I'm just cutting away some of this tape underneath. It might still be a little bit wet, not sticky enough yet. Right, so I have the tape. I'm just going to pull. And if there's any tape residue still on after you've resined, then you can just pull it off after. So you just need to hold on tight. Put that one there. Let's get this one out. So I'm just holding on to the underneath of the canvas for now. Just so I can pry that tape off. So it has been sitting for about 20 minutes. Okay, so that side's all off. I have a feeling there's still some more here. So guys, if my camera shuts off while I'm doing this, I will show you the end result. Okay, let's grab that cup and put it this side. You don't have to pull the tape off like I am. I prefer to pull it off now because it's less trouble than if you were to pull it off once it's dry. Okie dokie. You got to be careful not to touch the resin as well, so that's why I say it can be a little tricky. I can just turn that around to make it easier for me. You just pull it down and put it away from the canvas. I'm getting better. Almost there. And then you are going to have to make sure that you've got the cups all lined up again properly. Almost there. It's sticking. Oops! It's sticking to the plastic. Okay. Almost done. So the tricky part about this is the fact that I have already painted, so the tape is a little bit more stuck than what it should be. Almost there, I can feel it. That is better. Coming off really nicely. Last bit. Okay. I will show you the dried results. Right guys, so this is all dried now. As you can see, it is beautifully finished. And this is what I mean about the sides. So it really does have a gorgeous finish and very clear. Well guys, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys. Bye for now.